Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're going to show you how easy it is to tokenize your project right from scratch. For starters, if you go to EquityMint.org/token sale, you can always see the existing projects on the platform at any given subdomain, any given white label partner of the EquityMint platform. For now, there is the base domain. At the base domain, you'll see there's two projects if you click Analyze. Now, one can select the project. Here it is. The Velios New York Trust is the first test project on the platform. What we're going to do now is we're going to start from scratch and show you exactly how easy it is to make your own token. And then we're going to come back here and we're going to add the template fee that corresponds to the fee for the EquityMint.org base domain that is necessary for all projects on the platform, and that we will show you shortly. For now, let's go right into it. We're going to start from scratch. You are a entity that wishes to raise money like so many of us. You might be under regulation 506B or 506C, or you might be a crowdfunding exemption, or you may be a fund that is a registered security, or you may not even be a security at all, in which case you're just selling a product like nights at a hotel that you want to tokenize. And we have all of these projects in our system. All of them are perfect candidates for our system. So let's get right into it. Imagine that you've registered already to use the platform and you've downloaded MetaMask on Chrome to do that. The next step after you do that, in fact, we'll start from scratch. We're gonna log out, and we're going to start from completely from scratch. We're going to sign in, and this is what you will do. And no password. You just sign with key, the same, which is signing with your private key for the address that you registered with. And the address is the wallet address from MetaMask. Confirm the message, which is a Unix timestamp. Basically, this tells you the time, tells us the time that you're signing the message. Now sign in. It's that simple. Now you're in the system and you just click Operations. Once inside Operations, you'll wait for the settings to load, and then you'll see two objects, two what we call data models. The first one is just you as an issuer. Who are you as an issuer? Who are you representing that is officially issuing your token? Remember, this isn't laissez-faire. You're actually issuing something equivalent to a stock on a stock exchange. So you want to enter a little bit of information about you in our centralized repository here. This is not used for anything other than management, so that you can create your token and there's a little bit about you on file. So who are you? What is your company name? What is your tax number? What is your district tax number, if that's even relevant? And the way you fill this out is you click the plus button right here. You just hover over the object and click the plus button, and then you're given the opportunity to enter in the relevant fields. Everything in red is required. Anything not in red is not required. Everything is self-explanatory. Issuer symbol is irrelevant. You will not see this. In fact, we can remove it now from the system just by going into issuer symbol and going like that and saving this as an admin of the platform. I can do that. Now it's been saved. And just to make this line up, match, we're going to click Operations again because we've changed the field structure on an object. So we're going to be absolutely sure everything loads correctly. We're going to load everything in again. Now when you log in, you will not see issuer symbol as a relevant field. So in 5 minutes or less, let's get this done. You enter the system, you enter the relevant information for you. If you're missing something, you'll click Upload, and if you're missing something, it'll show here what you're missing. Make sure you have all the relevant information, then click the Upload button when you're ready. When you're done, you will click Reload, and then you'll see something like it's telling us hey, you had information in there, so it's giving you a little warning. We've changed into get mode, and you'll see something like this. You'll see all the information you entered about yourself, and then you'll be given the opportunity to add a token system. We call this a token system. For the way to think about it is it's just a token. But what is it really that you're creating? What you're really creating is so much more. I'll show you here. You will not need to see this except just for conceptually to understand that what you are creating is so much more than just a token. It's a token system that gives you a lot of power, from a liquidity pool to a distribution manager to what we call a team manager and a restricted sale manager, which is kind of like a secondary market that's private among your shareholders. You have what's called a token time lock, which gives you the opportunity to comply with Rule 144, lock the token for a period of months before they are able to transfer it. You can even set minimum prices on transfer for the liquidity pool that you control. Okay, so now that you've seen this, let's go back to operations. You are here, you're going to create your token system. What is it going to look like? Well, the most important thing that you know about, that you care about, is, and the most simple concept is how many units are you issuing? And that is right here, total issued. You can change this later unless you lock it. So what it really is conceptually is the initial total issued. In this case, in this example, there's 1 million shares being issued. The description is 32 Jane Street and 54 Monroe. Now, what does that mean? In this case, the ownership of these shares represents ownership interest in these two properties, which is owned by Velios Realty and managed by Velios Realty. The actual ownership resides in the token itself, just like shares in a trust. In some cases, it could be that this could be a cleaning company where they're just managing the service of cleaning these units, and shareholders get a piece of the revenue, right? And it could be anything you want it to be. The token can even point to NFTs, by the way, folks, just so you know, FYI, that's embedded in the system. NFTs that represent the property directly, either at the government level or at some other level. NFTs that could be representative of artwork available on OpenSea. Anyway, this is the information about a particular token. If you were going to add your own token, it would look something like this. You would enter the description, whatever it is you are offering, right? The total issue that you desire, the token name. It could be whatever, my token name, whatever it is. Usually it's typically your company, right? Like Velios New York Trust, something like that, right? In this case, and then the token symbol, whatever it is that your symbol is. Max allowed decimals you set for 0. Initial time lock months you would set if you are a regulated security. You would want to set at least 12 months if you're regulated in the US to meet with Rule 144. And any other criteria that your legal staff tells you need to comply with, you can maintain on a technical level through our platform. What's the minimum price? That means if it's going to be sold on a secondary market for a certain term after the lock is over, you might say, for the next 24 months, I don't want anyone to sell it through our liquidity pool for less than $20. And that's what this does. It's a very powerful tool. The price per token here, $20. Actually, the price per token is not the min price. That's the actual price you're asking for. Maybe you're selling it initially at 15. It would make more sense to be selling it at the same exact price that you set for your min price going forward. So if you don't want to use min price, just set that to 0. And if you don't have any min price time lock, set that for 0. If you're not a registered security, but you're just offering a service, then the initial time lock months could also be 0. So you just set that to 0 if you're not using it. Now, the token address will be filled out for you automatically when it's deployed in phase 3, which we're going to show you when you see the deploy button, which is after you add the details. So stablecoin address. This is really important. What are people buying the token with? Dollars, euros, right? Now, we support USDT and USDC as standard, and we recommend that you actually select USDC, ETH USDC. And then the stablecoin USD price feed is the corresponding price feed. Ladies and gentlemen, you must make sure that you enter the correct price feed corresponding to the stablecoin you selected. In this case, USD is for USDC, right? This price feed is very important. If you do not set it correctly and your token doesn't work, this is your own risk, right? You feel free to call us. We'll help you. We'll walk you through setting it up. Where you set it up, you have control, but we can talk to you as you go on a Zoom phone call and watch you through Zoom to make sure you're setting it up correctly. Nevertheless, it's your responsibility to make sure you enter the numbers that make sense for the platform. Now, the hardest thing to understand is what's called distribution supply basis. What is the minimum number of shares that pertain when you have an auto distribution of, say, for example, 20% you want to distribute automatically whenever your revenue treasury, which is one of the contracts that's issued, whenever your revenue treasury has a certain amount in it that's, say, over $5,000. Anytime there's at least $5,000 in it, that's ready to be distributed. Not just $5,000 in there, but in this case, if you're distributing 20%, then you would have to have at least 25,000 in the treasury, and then 5,000 of that gets distributed, and the other 20,000 you can do what you want with. You can take it out of the treasury. It's corporate funds, but it's put into the treasury either automatically through fees or through the course of your own business. It doesn't have to be a revenue treasury. It could be called a profit treasury, and it represents what you want to distribute or what the entire company has made. So you would put it in there at least temporarily, because then it represents on blockchain always something formal that shows, oh, this is my revenue, and you see I put it here. This is the date I put it in. And a part of it, once I put it in there, is automatically locked and held for the distribution pool and gets distributed among the shareholders. It's a really nice feature. Liquidity rev share percent, what is that? So if you're operating the liquidity pool at all, you might say, I want a certain amount of funds to provide depth to the liquidity pool, and even do buybacks on an automated level if the depth is big enough to support that. You get to set that right here, and you can even set the buyback intervals later. Not here initially, but you can set that later through the token sale over here in the admin section. This is where you set up gating, and you set up all the other fun stuff you're going to want to set up after you activate the token and pay the deployment fee, which you'll do right now, but the activation is done here on the admin side. And that happens after the deployment fee. And also setting up the sale, which is free, actually activating your sale, is another thing you do here on the admin side. So let's go back to EquityMint.org proper. You are deploying your token. So we're just about finished creating our token system. If you have a NAV pool, meaning at the end of each day, perhaps you're going to set the actual price in a NAV pool and offer it with redemption on days where people can sell back to you guys, to the pool, right, as a project. You can have on days, say 3, and off days 27. This allows you to comply with relevant securities laws on fund structure that has redemption periods, right? You cannot have the redemption period on all the time. That's what this is for. What are you launching on? Are you launching on ETH or BNB or AVAX, which is all we support right now? Actually, all we support right now is ETH, BNB shortly, BNB now, but it's not quite tested yet, so we will tell you just launch on ETH for now. And then AVAX comes shortly thereafter. Now, token doc base URL. This is really important. Where are you storing the document that explains what you're offering to the public? Even if it is just a service, we require that you have a document that protects you and your investors, or purchasers if they're not investors, if they're purchasing a service. So where is it? So in this case, for this company, it's velios.com/subagreement, right? That's it. No .pdf, nothing. Just this is a nice professional way to cause the download of something. And this is what we recommend you do with this kind of structure to represent your base URL. Now, let's select the document. You have to have the document locally on your computer. You select it, and as soon as you select that document, a doc hash will be generated and put here automatically. That happens automatically. You describe a description. You describe what it's about. You could just say, you know, this is the Velios terms and operations, right? What you get. Valios New York Trust, right, for example. What is your audit email? This means if people have to register in order to purchase, because that is our default requirement. Unless you uncheck that, it's our default requirement that everyone has to register if there's any kind of security element to what it is you're offering. This allows you to get a CC. That's all, a CC email, a carbon copy of the email that they registered. It's really important because it shows also the context in which they registered. Are they an accredited investor, etc.? Are they a non-US citizen? What city they came from, which is required so that you can register in the relevant states as well. Now, once you've done this, you click the upload button. Same thing right here. Add, upload, add, upload. So when you're done, it says, hey, we're missing a few things, right? Now, if we weren't missing those few things, because let's say we set the distribution supply basis at 1 million, what I forgot to tell you earlier is, let's say you've only sold 2 shares, right? And now you're distributing 20% 2 months later. You don't want 20% of that revenue just to go to those 2 shares holders, right? So this sets a minimum number of shares so that the full 20% allocation goes to those 2, goes to all the people who hold it. If there's only 2 tokens sold, then only 2 divided by 500,000 of the 20% will get distributed to them, and the rest is available for you to recollect out of that treasury until the supply basis is reached. This is a known number in the securities world. You can look it up. Distribution supply basis, it's a well-known phrase. So again, once you have liquidity revenue share percent, if you're not using liquidity pool, 0, not using NAV pool, 0, and once again upload. Are we still missing anything? Registration audit email is your, whatever your audit email is. Audit at valios.com, and I spelled that wrong, but not important. We go to hit upload, and here it is, and you click OK, then you click reload, and you're done. Once you click reload, you're going to see something like this, where it says continue. You've got all these things you entered here. You sure you want to go into get mode? That's why it's showing that warning. So we say yes, and now look over here under chain symbol. Across from it, you'll see the deploy button. That's it. Just click deploy, and then auto deploy here. If you paid $1 million a pop, you'd have access to our EquityMint platform SDK, which shows all of the things that allow you to compile your own contracts and handle in-house operations. It's an extremely powerful setup. So we're not going to show you that because this video is designed for people who actually want to tokenize their offerings now. So you just click auto deploy. That's it. And now it's saying, hey, there's no deployment found yet. Not even phase 1 has been deployed. Proceed to make a new deployment. So you say okay. And now you'll see the things you entered. Who are you as a project super? That was one of the things to enter earlier. In this case, the name was Joe Smith. The project super ID. What's the ID of the broker in this case? What's the project name? Valios New York Trust. The project ID, etc. And you look at these, make sure they're okay. Certain things are automated, so they say so right here. In this case, the sale manager does not have the USDC or USDT address set. These are automatically injected, as well as this. It's the actual, as well as the price feed, and these are injected from the token side. So actually, all you'll do is press start fresh. That's it. You press start fresh. And now all of these items are fetched. It's saying, hey, none of the compiled code is actually in the controller factory yet. So we fetch everything from chain and off chain from what are called transaction hashes. And now look, everything appears and it says, hey, it's ready. It's ready to do phase 1. Now it's saying, hey, you can't do phase 1 because remember I said earlier we haven't configured the fee template for the base domain EquityMint.org on the latest factory, fresh off the development press. So let's go do that. This is not something that you're going to have to deal with. You'll just see phase 1 and you'll come down to the bottom and you'll click deploy phase 1 of 5. That's it. It'll ask you for the deployment fee, which is $1,000, and and in USDC, and then you're good to go. Now, if you go to the token sale, you're not, again, this is not for you. We just want to show you, if you're a white labeler watching this video, how easy it is for us to have our agreement and set up the fee structure. What we do is go into factory as the white label controller here, and in this case, we don't have a partner as the base domain, so we're just going to connect to the latest factory. This is not the controller address that we want to link to. We actually want to link to that was the controller address of the last test. So what we're going to do is pick the actual platform controller. We're going to connect to the factory for the platform controller, and it's saying, hey, the latest factory in the platform controller is this, ending in 04. You're now connected. Let's grab the fees that the controller has associated with the platform itself, just to use as a base. We're going to edit the project revenue treasury, and here it is. Not actually going to edit it, we're going to use it as a base. And there's no transfer fee for the matching of what you are required to deploy your fee manager with as a base root fee. What there is a deployment fee of $1,000. Now, in this case, for this example, we set it to 100. We're going to change it later. And the activation fee is 200. And the sales registration fee is 100. And there's no purchase fee. There is a one-time holder fee of $10. For those who have paid the sales reg fee, it doesn't pertain. But in a secondary market, through our liquidity pool, if there's any trading going on later, if your project supports that, there's the one-time holder fee if it's going to any new holders. Now, the sales registration fee for white labelers is less. So we are not directly competing with our white labels. The sales reg fee is $80 for the majority of our white labels. Now, transfer fee, as I said, 0, but you guys, as projects, are going to have your own default transfer fee of $11 to support our fees of $10. Now, in certain white labels, we have exceptions for very, very specific types of projects that require high-speed transactions that are not actually RWAs. We may have different fee structures that relate. Nevertheless, if your project revenue treasury itself does not have what's needed to pay our fees, your token will turn off automatically for transfers. Just to note, we set this up as a default for you guys so that will never happen. But it can happen if you change it. You guys have the power as project owners to change your fee structure. The only thing that becomes fixed is whatever we agreed to as the white label that you came in with as a project. That this pertains to you only if you're watching this video as a potential white label partner and not a project owner. So this is all correct right now, and we're going to change the name, because the actual name of what this treasury is the EquityMint project revenue treasury itself. So now add to template. Here it is. One thing we forgot is to set it as root. And actually here it is root. That is correct. So we're going to click add to template again. This shows child of this. You see, this is not correct. This parent treasury needs to show root. And we need to add to template. And it needs to show root here. There's actually 3 showing here. So what we're going to do, because this is not correct, we're going to remove this. Why is it showing 3 times? I do not know right now. Load from platform universe. Possibly it's showing some of the others, which is now becoming, this makes sense. There is no template yet, but why it's showing 3 right now, I do not know. Let's clear the form. It's not clearing this. We're going to load from scratch and do this one more time because we don't want to see 3 fee entities right now. We only want to see the 1. So we'll go back into factory. We'll click audit. We'll click connect to factory. We have to actually paste the controller we want to click to. Click connect to factory. Grab our basic fees. Hit edit. Not that one, but this one. Change the name accordingly. Let's just do a quick test first. This is 0. That's good. Let's hit add to template. Good, it should just show the 1. Now, if I change this to say 100 as a deploy, we hit add to template. Good. You see, this is not correct, adding it again. It should only add it one time. We have to change that because it's not removing it. What I'm going to do is do this one more time, and we're only going to add it once. And then this is just something we have to change on the UI. Everything is not 100% on the UI side, and obviously it needs to be, otherwise it's just annoying. So let's get this correct. For now, because we must set this in order to proceed to continue with the video, we're going to just do this carefully. Deploy fee of 100, activation fee of 200, sales reg 100. Now remember, this becomes 1,000 in actuality. This is 0. The holder fee is 10, and this has to line up. The parent treasury is root, and everything else looks good. There's the 4 fees. We hit add to template. Now it just shows once, as it should, as a root parent. We hit save template to platform universe. It's saving, and we're going to have to approve this, of course, as a platform treasurer. Now we're going to approve this. Okay, let's hit confirm here. Okay. Okay, let's close this extension. Now, as soon as it's saved, we can click load existing, and that was fast. Viewing one current fee for EquityMint.org. It seems to have worked already, which means it actually was approved. So there it is. These load existing one more time. There it is. So it's actually in there, and the proof is in the pudding. That means you see this. It says, hey, the estimation, it's going to revert because there is no fee template. See how it says that? But if we go back again and close this, and click auto deploy again, it says, hey, there's no deployment. We proceed, and now we click start fresh. And now you can deploy phase 1 through 5, and the first token system through live video on the EquityMint platform will be created. Should take you guys 5 minutes. The video is a lot longer than it's actually going to take you to do this yourself. Obviously, we're showing a bunch of things you don't need to see. You don't have to think about anything except just following the phases. So now it works. See? There's nothing wrong with the fee template. In fact, usually it tells you, hey, the fees are matching. It does right here. Shows fees matched. Deploy OK. So you don't even need to read anything. Just go down here and click deploy phase 1. It's that simple. First thing it's going to ask you for is to pay the deploy fee. Right? You need to approve the $1,000 deploy fee. And so you'll click confirm as a pre-approval. This just is going to be part of the transaction. There's the $100 base fee. So confirm. Now it's saying validating permit and preparing phase 1. I might have double clicked this, so it might actually go faster than we think. Good, it's protected against key bounce. So now we're going to confirm this transaction. This is the actual transaction request. That's going to cost about $10. And actually it did just do it because I did hit it twice by accident. Or did it? Let's find out. Preparing phase 1 transaction. Yeah, something happened because I double clicked. You got to be very careful with MetaMask. It's very flaky as a wallet. Unfortunately, there aren't too many other options out there. So yeah, why it came up twice like that is probably because I had hit it twice. But it should only come up one time. You should see the actual cost here. There's the $100 USDC that you approved, and the transaction. That's it. So it's going to send the bytecode and params for the transaction. Now in the next setup, it's going to send even less and cost even less because the actual bytecode is cached. But you don't need to know any of this. Just hit the confirm button. That's it. And phase 1 will be done. What is phase 1? It's deploying the controller and fee manager, which is 2 of the 13 contracts that you'll need. So just hit the confirm like I just did. I just pressed confirm. Now it's a little slow. My system's pretty slow, probably because I got a lot of stuff open on my system to make this video, and be in this environment that we're in, both be in a development environment, a lab environment, a production environment, a display environment, MetaMask open, video, software open, so lots going on. Anyway, we submitted the transaction, and now when it's done, you just wait here, and this will change to deploy phase 2 of 5, right? So you just wait. It says the transaction's complete. That's very important. So you can leave that open for a little while longer. Wait till this changes to phase 2. And then, so you're not confused, you're definitely going to want to close the extension before you go on to the next phase, because otherwise it gets confusing, because it starts to show you different windows and say 1 of 2 or 1 of 3, and you don't want that. So let's just wait. Look at this. It changed to deploy phase 2 of 5. This is wonderful. Now look, in the phases here, it says phase 1 fees matched, right? But the important thing is this is checked now. Phase 2 ready to deploy. So that's it. We deployed successfully, and it says already deployed the controller. Now this is really cool. I want to show you guys something. We're going to close this extension first, like I said you should do. Always close the extension before you go on to the next transaction. Now check this out. If you click on the current deployment status or click on the controller here, it's the same thing. Click on the current deployment status. It's going to show you that, hey, there's no controller deployed yet. This is actually not true. It did deploy it. So let's see if it picks it up here. And that usually works, but something happened here, so it's not showing it. What it should show is the controller is deployed with the fee manager in it, just like this. Now here's the, if we backed out of this and went back in, it would show that, and we don't want to do that. This is really important because it says, hey, this is your controller for your project, and there's a fee manager in it, right? So that's amazing. It's working. This shows you a little bit more, right? Usually. So let's go on to phase 2. That's all you got to do now is click deploy phase 2. You paid your deployment fee. Everything else here is free except for the actual network fees, which can range from $10 to $100 or more depending on network activity per phase, right? So overall, figure you'll spend about $1,500 in total on deployment costs, which is far less than the $500,000 you'd spend on some of these other platforms, or $40,000 and not even have anything half as good. That's why we're a .org, folks, because we're going to undercut the industry here. Every other platform, mark my words, every other tokenization platform out there is going to fail because of us. Now, when people ask me, I say, well, we're the Wikipedia of RWA tokenization, right? They're free information. This is close to free, as free as you can get, with as much flexibility as possible. A huge amount of flexibility, literally millions of lines of code, and 20,000 approximately lines added daily. We are constantly improving the system and coming up with new versions. That said, let's confirm phase 2. $6.93, folks. Most people will pay hundreds of dollars more. Why? Because of our secret sauce. We have a whole bunch of estimating algorithms going on behind the scenes to make sure you pay the lowest gas possible for very complicated big transactions, right? There's a lot going in here. We are close to the maximum 30 million gas that ETH will allow per transaction. These are huge transactions, folks. Don't think they're not. They are. You could pay as much as $1,000 for just one of these transactions if it wasn't done perfectly, efficiently. So phase 2 is now done. This is exciting. We're going on to phase 3, which is the token itself. What did we just deploy? The token content, which contains all of the information about your documents, right, that pertain to the offering, and the sale manager. Well, oh no, sorry, that's next. The token content and the issue time lock. The token time lock, which is exactly as it sounds. It has to do with like how long you're locking the token for, and any minimum prices you might have after the time lock ends. And those minimum prices pertain to trades on what is detected as a liquidity pool, specifically our liquidity pool, meaning your liquidity pool, the one that pertains to your project, is the most well guarded. And folks, we even have wrapper guards. If somebody wants to wrap the token and try to trade it, it will block. I mean, the system is strong, very strong. Let's close the extension and now deploy phase 3, which is the token itself plus a sale manager. Just out of curiosity, before we do this, I'm just going to click this again to see if it works. And it's still not showing us this unless we close and come back, which I don't want to do. But if you go back and look here in this version of the controller, and this clickable link here, clickable address, you'll see, hey, look, now we've not only got the fee manager inside our controller, but we've got the issue token content manager and the issue token time lock. This is so exciting. We've got 3 of the 13 contracts. This I'm ignoring. This is the actual platform controller factory, which is here but not needed for you guys. It's an auditable element that gives you even more security as a project, proving that it is part of the EquityMint family of projects, that you deployed it through the EquityMint platform. So next, deploy phase 3 of 5. The token itself plus the sale manager is about to be deployed, folks, and then the token gets automatically stored into the centralized database, and we'll show you how that happens. So for your records, you can come back and see it, but you'll never need to. If this system closed down after you're finished deploying, it doesn't matter. As long as Ethereum is rocking, you know, your entire structure is on blockchain. So even if we didn't offer a really great interface into it for people buying and selling, you can always access your token going forward. That is the strength of blockchain. You think of this as a management tool, and you think of this as just a creation tool, just a way to get onto blockchain in the most powerful way possible. So here it is, folks. I clicked phase 3 of 5. Now I'm going to confirm it. This is actually deploying the token plus the sale manager. So let's click OK to that. Let's confirm this transaction, and I just hit confirm. So again, lots going on my computer. Your system will go a little faster. MetaMask is now finally responding. And where are we? And let's see how our recording is going on. Now, this is important. This part should actually show the deployment, and it doesn't. So we're going to ignore this here because we're not going to overwrite with 0. I don't know what this is over here, but let's close. Oh, it's somebody calling. I'm going to ignore that. And then we're going to close the extension here. And we're going to click overwrite just to see what happens. Because if we click overwrite, yeah, let's ignore it. Now it's going to go on to phase 4. Yeah, so it's going to try to overwrite it. Oh, with the correct address. So this is actually correct. Wow. F86 is the new token address. You click OK, and it just wrote it, the 86. Now we click reload, and it's done. Now the next step, it should go right into phase 4. Refreshing validation for next phase, and we're going to be able to deploy, for the first time in history, we're going to be able to deploy the distribution plus NAV plus liquidity plus treasury. This is incredibly exciting because we have never come this far. And if you hadn't saved the token address, it would ask you to do it here. In other words, if you leave to go have lunch right now and then come back in and you hadn't saved the token, it will not let you proceed further. You will not have a distribution pool, a distribution manager, or a liquidity pool, or a treasury manager if you do not, save that token. And in the BNB version, you will not be able to even use your token unless you finish this phase 4, right? So it's really important you get through at least 4 of the 5 phases. Phase 5 is just a team manager and a release manager, which you do not need because we lock the token, so you don't even need a release manager unless you want to do special releases that are actually vested over time, not just locked, but not even in the person's wallet. Like certain team members you might want to have that for, and that's in the release manager, which is phase 5 of 5. Let's hit deploy phase 4 of 5, and it's saying there's that mismatch still because it didn't get one of these variables right. So we're gonna try overwrite again and see, and this time it's not getting it right. this is an issue, because in order to continue, it needs to know that, hey, we got the token right. So this is a small UI issue, and so let's cancel this. What we did save, what is it saying? Let me just see what it's saying our actual token is. F86, that might have been the old token. So what we're going to do is we're going to close this, like we just went to have lunch, right? Like we said. We're going to close this, we're going to click deploy again, and this is great because the state is preserved. Everything's on blockchain already for the first 3 phases. We're gonna resume previous. You can hit start fresh, it doesn't matter. It's not actually starting fresh. It's just getting the snapshots again. Like, so I hit start fresh, it won't matter. You don't have this resume previous button. You only have start fresh, so let's go with that, start fresh. And even though it takes the snapshots again, it's still state-based. So it's based on what's on chain. You should be able to start right at phase 4, and perhaps it'll get the token correct this time when you go back in, and we will have this so that you won't need to close it all and get through all the 5 phases immediately shortly. So defaulting to empty struct. Okay, so this is just some details, some log details. Let me go into the actual. Okay, now this is great. Phase 4 ready to deploy. Now let's see. We want to see what our token really is. Let's try this again. Current deployment status. Yeah, this was working. I just made some changes, unfortunately, so I can't show you how beautiful this is. It shows the current deployment state. It actually shows you what's deployed now, not just what's in the controller. It shows you the actual deployment state according to what we call our platform universe. If you want to see it here, at least this part is still working. We can see the actual token is in here now. Yay, VNYT is the token, and it does end in F86. That is correct. So I'm not sure why it's saying that we deploy phase 4. It's saying your token records differ from deployment state. It's not actually getting the fact that the deployment state is not 0, but is the F86. So it keeps saying, hey, it's not correct when it is correct. But if we try overwrite again, we're just going to be. It seems to be. Yeah, this is kind of meaningless. Even if we clicked OK here, it would. What would it attempt to write? Nothing, essentially. The issuer ID, the project ID. It's almost useless to do this. But it's still not going to recognize it because it's not reading the token address out of the deployment state to match it to what we have in our records. So we are going to resume this shortly, and we will continue with phase 4 of 5 shortly. This is really exciting, folks. We're just about at the end of this chain here, so all the people waiting to have their projects on our system will be able to come in. We'll open the floodgates shortly. Okay, guys, we are back, and this is so exciting. Phase 4 deploys. This is the first. The historical first for EquityMint. We are so excited. We're going to click Start Fresh again. And remember, as we said, the state is saved. So it's going to start right where we left off at phase 4. And everything is working. We're going to show you that shortly. It's running through its testing now, and it's going to open up the deployer at phase 4. Okay, as you see, phase 4 is ready to deploy. Now, earlier we said when we click the current deployment status, we were looking for this, and everything is here, and it's beautiful. You can even see the token deployed successfully at address ending in 86, F86. Let's close this. Before we do, we can see this is the contents of our current controller. And remember, this contains things such as the official smart contracts associated with our token system, and it also includes who your token admins are, right? And that shows it in more detail. You can see that there is a super, and there's a treasury admin, and there's a token admin. Now, you can also add various other admins, such as registrars, third-party registrars as well, and we'll show you how that works in a little bit. First, we're going to deploy phase 4 because we're really excited that this works now, and you're going to be witnessing the first completely deployed project on the EquityMint system. With all this talking and this long video, it only took 7 minutes to do this of actual time. Really extraordinary. So phase 4 contains the distribution pool, the NAV pool if you're going to use one, liquidity pool if you're going to use one, and the treasury The treasury is either a revenue treasury or a profit treasury, however you want to use it, like we discussed earlier. So let's, without further ado, click deploy phase 4 of 5. And as we showed you in other videos, you can see how easy it is for a user to purchase an interest in whatever it is you're selling according to the subscription agreement, which is embedded in the token. The token itself is a treasury, by the way. Now, let's click confirm. $8 fee that anywhere else would be $50 to $500 without really good proper gas estimation using statistics of prior blocks. Now, this is working. Incredibly exciting, meaning that there's only one phase left to go, which is the team manager, the restricted sale manager, and the executive release manager for team members receiving a vesting schedule, which is basically not necessary now that there's locks. But it's nice to automate that anyway, if you want to. The release manager is also highly flexible and powerful because it offers revocable and non-revocable releases. Every contract we have is at the top of its game, in the top 0.5% complexity of any contract you'll find anywhere in the Solidity ecosystem. Okay, we're going to close this section and notice how it went from deploy phase 4 to deploy phase 5 of 5. Restricted, team, and release. Now, actually, this should say, this is interesting because what we just did is 4. So, and now 5 is the remaining things. But this is interesting. I'm thinking like, I'm thinking to myself, why do we have 6 now? And that's probably because this naming is actually off. This is no longer restricted sale, team, and release. What we just deployed was not all 4 of the contracts that it said in the button. So this is again just a simple UI change, but just the first 2 of those. And what we're deploying now is actually the let me show you. Nothing like a picture's worth 1,000 words. What we just deployed was the NAV Pool manager and the liquidity provider and the liquidity pool. These 3 just happened. So what still remains is the distribution manager and the project revenue treasury. That's going to happen right now in phase 5. Let's get that done now, and then we will adjust what it actually shows here in the button. Deploying phase 5 of 5. Right here, phase 5 ready to deploy. Okay, so this did not work, and we are going to figure out why. This is a very simple issue that we're gonna fix right now and be right back with you. Again, we're entering new territory. This is the first time we got this far, and we're winding down now. The last 2 phases. Then the white labels come in, and we'll show you how that works. We'll show you again what it's like for a user to come into the system and certify, register, and then purchase. We are back, and just to refresh your memory, you are the issuer. In this case, for example, you are Velios Realty. You have 1 or more projects called token systems. The project that we are using as our example is the Velios New York Trust Test Token. This is what's in it. We're going to deploy it. And we've already deployed the first 4 of 6 phases. Picking up where we left off, it shows that the system exists. It's saying, hey, this exists already. It doesn't tell you with how many phases, but it tells you it exists. This is the one button you get to press. Start fresh. That's it. And we'll remove that little pop-up. You press this button and a combination of things happens. It looks for things on blockchain, off-chain, including model transaction information and appended new parameters, and or including caches in our factory, A lot of stuff is happening behind the scenes to make your deployment fast and cheap. Now, phase 5, ready to deploy. That's it. Again, we just have to fix these 3. It's not deploying restricted sale team and release right now. It's only deploying the distribution manager and the project revenue treasury. And we confirmed that earlier when we clicked this current deployment status, and we showed that the distribution manager and the project revenue treasury have not yet been deployed. They are going to be right now. This is the first time ever that we are having an automated deployment of all of our contracts necessary for a project. $6.54. Again, this is typically not terribly accurate, but in this case, actually it has been. In the last few contracts, it has been quite accurate, but sometimes it's 2 to 3 times under what you actually spend. The whole gas estimation and gas usage on MetaMask has never been perfected. It's better than it was, but it's still a long way from excellent. So what we've done is we force certain parameters to make your experience the most efficient possible. We're going to close the extension. Transaction is complete. This is amazing. We're now on to phase 6, as you see here. So obviously 6 of 6. This is the last phase, folks, and this is where the restriction manager, the team manager, release manager get deployed. First time live, right? Contracts tested, always offline, so we might not have enough gas to complete this transaction because it's 3 at once. But these are smaller contracts, so there's a chance it will work. Let's click it and find out. See what our estimator says. This is looking good so far. Let's see what happens. If it pops up without any kind of alert or failure message, it's a good sign. This is also already a good sign because we have a lot of early pre-flight tests that happen behind the scenes before you even see the pop-up. So this looks like it's going to work. This is it. This is the final phase, folks, before we actually go live with valid subdomains that you can add your project from and white labels. And we invite you to come directly into EquityMint.org and start deploying, folks. Start getting your projects out there to the world. Let's do it. Let's finish with phase 6. Let's confirm that. Okay, just clicked it. Transaction submitted. Transaction complete. Woo! Time to celebrate, folks. This is it. EquityMint.org is now live. Anybody can come in and create their token system now. We have not made EquityMint.org the team associated with this, because remember, this is on our platform called Data Cloud OS, where you can have many teams right inside any single domain itself. There's such a level of complexity and abstraction to this, which is amazing, which is why it's so versatile. Now, I just hit cancel to get out of this. Let me hit auto deploy again because I want to show you everything that's in there. It's really incredible. So let's go back in and we'll show you everything that's in the controller, and you'll know that we're done. So again, this is the only button you have access to, Start Fresh. We're just going to call it Start. In fact, Resume might be a better word for it, because that's what you're used to. So we're getting rid of the old Resume Previous button, and we're just going to call this Resume or Start. They do two different things conceptually, but in the end of the day, the state is the same. So you just have the one button. This is the exciting thing. Everything is completed. Now, what I was telling you earlier from an admin perspective, and I'm going to show you this with Data Cloud OS, all I do is click a button and it's open to the public. And I'm going to do that. And I'll show you what that looks like in 2 seconds. But first, check this out. Okay. Now, this is amazing. It's actually saying that there's no incomplete deployment found because we've already done all 6. So it's not even going to show us the stuff we had. So this is actually correct. If we look at this, current deployment status, there's nothing, because this project is already done, and so it's telling you this is going to be a new project, and this is actually all correct. So we can't even go back in and see that controller. The only way you could find it is now if you had written it down earlier, or if you go back into your token over here, go back into your project, and you could see this token address. Copy it. That's your token address now. If you copy it and go into the token sale side and go into, you've given it to a user, let's say, right? So if you've given it to a user, they enter they paste the token address, they click connect and discover, and they can purchase your token. It shows, hey, it's connected to a token, it's connected to a token sale contract. Currently there are one holder. There's precision of zero decimals, because in the real world shares and units are not divisible. We use 18 decimals behind the scenes. And it's saying there's internal transfer fees so that our service fees are covered. You can change these as long as you have money coming into your project revenue treasury. And this information is here. Now, as a user, I want to buy the token. So I click verify token in documents. And this is not going to line up because I don't have the address of this in the token in the token document, because the token document is just an example, right? So it's going to say, hey, don't purchase or register it for two reasons, not just one reason. But if we look at the document trail, it's saying, hey, we expect that document to be here, but it isn't. It's not here at this URL. Not only that, but we expect that the address, the token address itself, is embedded in the document, but it isn't. So we won't even let you purchase it. So these are terrific safety features for your users, for your purchasers. So not only did it fail to fetch it from the main place it says it's at, but it also failed to fetch it at that place / token address if you decided you didn't want to embed the token in the agreement. You just want to save it as something that references the token. These are safety features, folks. Now, in another video, I showed you what it looked like if the document were correct. Once you do have a correct document, simply just go to the admin side, enter the token address, same thing, click connect as admin, and then go down to the section where it says token trail. Where it says document, down here where it says content management and court tools. You'll enter your subscription, you'll choose your file that you want to upload, right? You'll enter the URL that it's stored at, and you'll give it a name, and you'll click add to trail. It's that simple, right? And the hash gets calculated, whatever document you select. If I clicked choose file, and I happen to go back into downloads, and I click the last PDF that I had, and it immediately calculates the hash. I could give a URL that it's at, /test, and I could say that it's called the subscription agreement, version 2, and then I could add it to the trail, and that's it. It'll just pop it up and add it to the trail, and then you're done. And when anyone comes to purchase it, they'll see that document hash. They'll see, and it'll go to the URL, and it will download the document automatically. And if it matches the hash, this hash specifically, then it will let you purchase. That's it. It's that simple, folks. And we have 3 patent pendings on this whole process, because there's a couple of wrapped and dual registrations to do self-cert. It includes us as a platform registrar to say, hey, the domain really existed at this time. Not the domain, but the document really existed at this domain at some certain time, right? So let me cancel this, because we're not actually going to upload some weird test document to this. There's no reason to do it. But I could actually upload a document that has the correct information, so we could show a good test of how this works. So what's next? You want to initiate a sale as an admin. So we're already connected as an admin. One of the things you're going to want to do is scroll down to the bottom, and you're going to want to activate the token. You can also activate the sale first, but it's going to say, hey, warning, the token's not activated yet. Sale will be marked active, but purchases will fail until token fee is paid. So how do I do that? I can do pay activation fee and activate token. And this is what you do as an admin to prepare for your sale. It's just incredibly simple. You can add staggered prices as well over here. right? So that's it. I'm not going to confirm this. I do not want to activate the token right now because it's a test token. But if I did activate it, then I could transfer stuff out. I could start moving stuff around from one token treasury to another, and I'll show you how that's done. Also, you would go, well, we're kind of done with this, but there's one other really important thing as an admin that you want to do. Gating is off by default for secondary markets. So it actually says that, yeah, gating is active, so meaning secondary trading is off. Now here are the you've got transfer locks, right? Permanent transfer lock, restricted trading, no buys. Now that's kind of the wrong word because you can unlock trading. It's actually global perm transfer lock. This should be just called global transfer lock rather than perm, because perm indicates, hey, you can't undo that. But this is toggle, right? So there it is. Now this is really important. If you're not a security, self-cert is required, but look at this, bypass platform registrar verification. That doesn't bypass the self-cert, but it bypasses us certifying the email address, which means you, as in project, you might not even get your CC email. If they lie about their email address, there's no way we can guarantee that or not. Bypasses removes platform signature certification that verifies user email address and that the project URL content snapshot against expected document hash, right? So this is kind of important, but at the same time, if you're not a security, you don't need to have this either. So, but there is still the self-cert where they certify a message that says, hey, I read the document, and that certification remains online, but you can't associate their address with an actual email address. That's okay still, although they are certifying that what they're purchasing is an exempt security rather than like just nights at a hotel or some service, right? So there is some small amount of online certification that we need to change to allow for services that are not actual RWAs. Remember, we designed this to be the perfect RWA tokenization platform that doesn't account for other kinds of services that don't require any kind of SEC exemptions or registration. So, because we have so much demand for that as well, we are changing the certification statement that allows for it. Okay, so what else is left? There's project fees factor. We showed you project fees earlier, and this is how advanced project fees are, by the way. After you connect, we'll enter token address again. After you connect for project fees, this is if you have fees in your own system. Just want to show you how complex our fee structure is. There's ancestor fees, parent fees, child fees. This shows you if you're a project admin, do you have the right to deactivate a child, any child in the forest, or just if you're an ancestor, then regardless of whether you're a project admin, you can deactivate a child as a parent, not as a grandparent. And various things that you can do. There's a lot going on here, folks. So if we load the fee entities, there should be 2 in this case. In this case, well, it says 3. Let's see. We know we've got the root revenue treasury for the platform. Remember, this is at 100. This needs to be changed to 1,000 now. Now, remember, we've got Joe Smith, which is me in this case, and we've got a child of me here, which is why it shows like this. It's a child of me, which is the project revenue treasury of this, right? Because not only am I acting as a platform treasury admin in a multi-sig wallet, but personally I'm also acting as the project head just for this project, right? And that's why it's here. If I click it, I can edit it. There's things I can edit if it's my own treasury. If it's my own fee entity, right? Meaning the address is my address, for example. In this case, I may not be able to edit it directly because, but no, I can, because I am the parent of it, right? So parents can edit child entities. So for example, if I change the transfer fee to cover the platform costs to $12, or because I want to make a profit on transfer fees and I'm legally allowed to do that, then I just set that update fee entity, and let's see if it will allow it as a child of the treasury being a child of me, being a project admin. And yes, it does allow it. Wow, cool, because I didn't get any kind of restriction message. So cool, all of this is working. This is incredibly exciting. Let me cancel this. User rejected transaction. Perfect. Okay. This is really great. All right. So after 6 months, any project can lock roots permanently, stopping the project itself from making changes if there's any changes in white label agreements or any changes associated with the project, and you just want to become fully autonomous. Remember, that's why we call this a sovereign platform, right? It's a sovereign project platform. It is an RWA tokenization platform. It is a sovereign RWA tokenization platform, as mentioned in the title. So you guys can play with this. You can use the actual EquityMint token itself if you want as your test basis. This is the EquityMint controller. It shows up here. You can click that. Now look at this. We can look at the projects available. All subdomains, base domain. It should load these two projects in the base domain. So let's see why it's not doing that. In the focus projects, because it did earlier, as you saw in our earliest video where we started this in the very beginning, it showed the projects associated with the base domain. So we might have to get it to do that, we might have to refresh, or there might be something else because we changed model controllers for the platform itself. So if we click this, there it is. It shows one total subdomain and two projects total. If we click EquityMint.org, and there it is. The Velios New York Trust, the one we just added live, is available for all people to see as an available project, right? We're not advertising it for sale. That's up to you. We're just showing that these are projects that are using the platform. That's all we do here. If you do have it for sale, it's available for sale, but the person needs to know the token address and they need to enter it. So we're not even displaying that token address here, but we do show that, hey, these are projects that were launched. They're official projects on our system. We can show the token address. People can type it in. They could look at the subscription agreements that are available at the token, if they're still available at the domain that the project registered. And that's it. It's a really simple, beautiful interface. More to come. Thanks for all of your patience. This is probably the longest video I've ever done, but it's also the only video, and first of many to come, that shows a completely 100% functional system. I want to show you one last thing. Going back here, remember I told you earlier, if you were an admin of the platform itself, you could see under the Data Cloud OS platform, you could see the power of this system. Right now, team approval is, what's the state of team approval? It's probably on. Yep, you see it toggle to on. What that means, if we click the question mark here, it means only team members added by admin can log in. If off, any registered person logging in will be auto-added to the team. Guess what, folks? We're ready for that now. So I'm going to toggle this to team approval off. And then anybody can make edits because they can only edit their own information. So we keep the min admin level for edit to 0. Demo mode level 0 because it's not relevant. This is not a demo platform anymore. But this says 0, no demo, requires admin 5 to actually make settings changes to the workflow. Obviously we want that. There is no feel free to play title clicks like it says in level 2 down here. You could see it. Allow feel free to play title clicks. No. And there's so many things that can be set here. The company-wide brain password is disabled for this. If you find you need one, you let us know. But if not now, shortly it will be disabled, so anybody now from the public can come in and start using the platform. We will be adding one more thing. Currently only admins need to sign a special contract, but very shortly any member of the public, before they register successfully, they will, as part of the registration process, need to sign the basic terms agreement, and that basic terms is specified in the About link. So if you go down to the bottom, this tells you all about us, by the way, everything that we have. It doesn't mention how wonderful we are for like a stable coin. We've had the government of Canada, we've had several interesting big players ask us about stable coins, and it turns out that this is the perfect environment to launch one. Not coincidentally, that since 2018 I've had a patent pending on what would be, after Tether, the first stable coin. The reason it's protective is because any existing bank account, any relationship you might have with a bank where the bank issues you, they convert their promise to pay you into a stable coin and take your fiat and hold it and put it in a reserve account, they would be infringing the patent. Now, there's so much here, as you can see. Transfer security and fee decision matrix, it tells you a lot of stuff. Look, wrapper token prevention, nobody does this, folks. We do. There's so much fraud going on out there. And this is great if you have fees, right? You can prevent others from making systems to avoid your fees. Nobody has that, I'm quite certain. Now, let's go down here to, well, I shouldn't be certain on things that I don't know 100%, but I'd be very surprised. Let's go to, you see here where it says terms, somewhere it says terms. Certainly it's part of our agreement, of the subscription agreement before you purchase our token, that you've read the terms, but somewhere in here there should also be, here it is, terms of service. This is the EquityMint subscription agreement that pertains to the actual EquityMint token itself, where we haven't embedded the token name yet, and that's going here. I mean the actual token address. So, but if you look at our controller, you could actually, you need the token address. So we'll give that to you shortly. I'm going to embed it in here, and you'll just be able to click it here. But if we clicked on the, if we went to the same place we were earlier, you could see all of the elements that's in our controller. In fact, we could also show you here. But before we do, I want you to look at our terms quickly. Look at our terms of service over here. So is this going to open? Okay. Terms of service. It really tells you, it's a critical legal notice. It tells you things you need to know before using this platform. And all project issuers should read this first. We don't enforce a signature on this page, but that will be what the contract is, basically, that you sign, that you've read and agreed to these terms. So Data Cloud OS supports document signing and template matching in a way that's far superior to DocuSign itself. We have other videos that show you that. If we close this, or go back into the admin mode, and we open up before we don't even need to open the deployer. This is part of our SDK, by the way. This is where, for $1 million a pop, you can go in, you can make your own, own your own models, and you can edit the information. Look at this. I could just click this, and it fetches from chain, well, from a provider, all of the last parameter details associated with the model, or last deployed, depending on what I toggle here. And then you can make modifications. You can open up the advanced tools, and you can make modifications. You can either fetch from chain like that, how quick that is, again from a provider, not from chain. These are verified contracts. You can do your own verification. You can compile from your local environment, make tweaks to your code, redeploy after compiling, and the auto deploy is what pertains to you as a project. If you are interested in the SDK for internal use, like if you're a BlackRock or you're a Chase, please contact me and we'll get right into it. This, if you if you don't want to fetch source code and you actually want the source code from your development environment, you just choose the file and it will add, you could do that. It would take me a while to find my development environment here. But you choose it and then you would click add to replace, and if there's any kind of dependencies that it finds, it asks you to add the parent directory, and it just does it automatically. Brings in the source code. It also brings in remote dependencies like from OpenZeppelin, all in an automated way. You compile. When you click compile, it gives you the compile options for optimized runs, etc. It does so much. Then you can set your own model to the new compilation over here, like jumping down to token. Let's say you click the last deployed. There's all sorts of stuff where you could see the init code, where it automatically strips out the parameters, so it's ready to be creation code plus parameters. So it acts as a terrific model that can then be launched cross-chain. A lot of stuff going on here, folks. Upload, replace, stripped bytecode from a compilation. This is there was no compilation. It knows that we didn't just compile something that doesn't have access to that latest data. There's, again, a lot going on, but hey, we just made a token system that's live on the ETH chain. This wasn't just a test video. This was a live video, live deployment of all these contracts. We got through it, folks. Everything except what we're reserving for the government side, which is the property NFT portion, where we have regional NFTs based on the GADM municipal system, world municipal system, and we act as an authority until further notice, until municipalities or governments become mature enough using our system to be able to do that themselves. In fact, I can show you how that works here in operations. If we went back to gov admin and you clicked, you went into add as a property NFT. Let's say we want to add a new property NFT. That would probably be on the deployer side. I select the country. Country is United States, Miami, Florida, Miami. See, this is the GADM system. Partial jurisdiction, Miami Beach. Now, local division, there is none. Now I would select the chain symbol, and I would just enter. This is actually going to deploy an NFT. It's not making a property NFT like over here, but it's deploying the regional NFT. Generate does that. That's how far we've come. We also have a Google viewing mode. Look at this. Like if you wanted to view this as a Google, edit it as a Google Doc, whatever. Not as a Google Doc, but something that looks like a Google form. And again, this is your MetaMask account that you logged in with. So let's close this. We don't want to be in that mode. But that's how far we've come, folks. And this is for the government side. Let's go back to properties. Oh, and docs is where you would upload docs associated with whatever it is for people who are purchasing our centralized storage service. Hashes are made, both regular and IPFS hashes, depending on how you want to store the doc, and it gets stored in Google Cloud because that's the provider we use. You can change that provider right here. Sourceful settings. Wait, they're both not sourceful. That's the data. That's the brain pass, but one of these, here it is. So this is where you can select your provider. You can use Google Cloud, our Google Cloud, or your own Google Cloud, and where you specify it, if it's your own, would be where you set it up. We'd have to do that for you because there are no admins, there are no public admins. You cannot add your own company in this platform like you can in others. In other platforms here in your profile, we offer a register company option. That's what Data Cloud OS does. You register your own company and you make your own workflow. So EquityMint used our Data Cloud OS platform, which is another US FinTech product. As you see here, platform and name are trademarked, 2025, all rights reserved, US FinTech LLC, as well is EquityMint. Thank you all for watching. Look forward to hearing from you directly. You can reach me likely at ken@equitymint.org, directly kensilverman1@gmail.com. If there's any issues with the EquityMint forwarding environment for now on the email system, and or info@equitymint.org.